All right, AJ.
Yes.
Of the NewEnglandTake.com. There was a debate last week.
I heard a little bit of something about it.
It has been rumored that there was a debate last week that took place in Atlanta, and I am anxious to hear your thoughts about what took place.
It was far worse for Joe Biden than I could have possibly have imagined. I was on WDEV last week at the Vermont Viewpoint, and we were doing some predictions. Like, it's traditional. It's 4 years ago. It's going to be a lot of repeats and craziness. It was so much worse for Joe Biden. I'm just going to put it right out there. He has to have dementia. The sundowning in the evening, the fact he can't make it through a complete day, the fact the next morning he was a totally different person again. Mm-hmm. I mean, the zoning out. I mean, the post-debate rally he had with Jill Biden trying to ham him up and say he's on another planet.
Yeah.
It's like he was just glossed over.
That was State of the Union Joe right there.
I'm like, oh my God. Like, how do you let this guy do this? I cannot comprehend why they think this is what they were going to do, because he's been like this for months.
Oh, for months. Yeah.
Years.
Well, yeah. I think, if you ask me, I think, and when he first ran for president back in 2020, he said he was going to be a one-term president.
Yeah.
So at any rate, that did not turn out to be the case. Well, I mean, he's running again. That's not to say he's going to win, but he's running again. I think there's one reason, and I think that's Dr. Jill.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, she's on the cover of Vogue today, I believe. How much she has not done anything from a policy perspective. It's not like Michelle Obama, where she had the food thing that she was doing with the schools that the kids hated, but whatever, we'll ignore that. She doesn't really have anything except for the fact she's carting around this guy. She had to help him off the debate stage of 4 steps.
I was going to say 3, but okay, I'll give you 4. Yeah.
I understand. Like, I was watching post-debate analysis by the Daily Wire. Andrew Klavan said, well, if it was me, like, of course I'd be that guy up there probably, if I'm that much of a narcissist. But everyone else around, for all the Daily Wire crew around him, like, it just doesn't seem that way. It seems like Jill Biden is propping this person up, whether it's because she's hearing it from the DNC, whether it's her own future she's looking to see in politics, because she's obviously still fully functional and a lot younger than him.
Exactly. So what do the Democrats do at this stage? I mean, they have pretty much, for the last 4 years, and even it goes back longer than that, really, have been covering up for Joe Biden, along with most of the media. Mm-hmm. So what do they do now? Now that the secret is not there anymore.
You can't hide from this anymore.
Right.
They can't win with him. At least they have to have some huge rebound over the next few months if they ever expect this to work. I've seen the most hardcore anti-Trump Democrats say, oh no, we can't vote for this guy. Joe Scarborough, the next morning saying he said he's the most stalwart, like this, like Biden is the best thing since sliced bread, suddenly going, oh no, we made a mistake. They have to get someone else in, but it can't be Kamala. Like, they can't just and that's the issue, is he needs, as far as what I've understood from the analysis, Biden is the one that has to say he's got to step down in order for the convention to change.
Right. He's got all the delegates.
Because otherwise it's going to be Kamala. Kamala is not going to do well. I cannot picture her this first time she's on the debate stage, or she's got to take hard questions. I mean, she was taking questions the next day and she had nothing.
Because if there's a politician more unpopular than Joe Biden, it's Kamala Harris.
And that's it's shocking. It's like she was hovering like 30% when Biden's at 35. Like, she's always 5 points behind him. I don't know what they're going to need to get someone. I mean, they're not going to put Dean Phillips in there. He's already burned too many bridges with the DNC, and they're not going to go say, "Hey, RFK, come back over." Of course not. They've burned every bridge for possible alternatives.
And the fact of the matter is that their bench, the Democrat bench, is not deep at all.
It's a systemic problem.
Yeah.
Both parties. How is it you're not getting new blood in? The Republicans seem to be doing better with Matt Gaetz, and the MAGA crew seem to elevate some of their leaders from that movement, for better or worse. But when you're looking at the Democrats, they got nothing. They've got a bunch of very weak people that can barely win their own primary. Was it Jamal Bowman was knocked out of his own district for the upcoming election?
After that rally he held last week, which was just unbelievable for a sitting congressperson to hold a rally like he did.
There's a fundamental problem I brought up on the show before, where it's the parties are not bringing in the future leaders that are going to replace these 70 and 80 something year old individuals, and that's all that we're at the point now where it's a problem. I was thinking, oh, maybe we got a couple more years. No, we're at catastrophe now, in my opinion, when it comes to the Democratic Party.
Well, I think the Republicans have a much deeper bench. I mean, you could put any one of 6 or 7 Republicans in there, and probably would be a much better candidate than Donald Trump.
It's kind of, it's kind of the nature of the Republican Party, where it's, instead of a single message party where it's across the board, this is the only thing we care about, the Republicans are more of inclusive when it comes to if you're kind of somewhat in the Republican side. That's the reason why the Libertarian crew in there with Thomas Massey and Rand Paul, they're able to, with the kind of the disadvantage a lot would say around the MAGA movement, is they're kind of able to get co-opted so effectively. But on the other hand, all these MAGA guys came up and they've met in the middle when it comes to a lot of stuff, and you've got Liz Cheney out now, so that kind of movement is kind of, they have no power anymore.
Here's AJ. I don't know if you saw this over the weekend, but their convention is coming up in Chicago, August 19th to the 22nd, and over the weekend, the Chicago Tribune pleaded with Biden in an editorial, normally a paper favorable to Joe Biden, and they pleaded with him to step aside.
There's so much of that. I can't I can't think of anyone that is a even somewhat serious political commentator on the left that isn't going like, oh God, either we need severe change here where we're going to do something to alter Biden's image to recover, or he needs to drop out. Matt Robeson of Beyond Politics used to be here on KXL, was in Newsweek with an op-ed talking about, he's on Cliff Schecter's YouTube channel, who is the most pro-Biden, Clinton, old establishment Democrat. Terrible channel, in my opinion. Sorry. Cliff does a good job with how it looks and everything, but I hate the channel. I love Matt, but come on. And Matt's saying, this is a real issue. They need to completely change his image, either maybe he didn't say this, maybe do the COVID method of hiding him away in his basement until election day and hoping no one notices.
That's what they did last time.
I think that's what they're going to have to do this time. I can't imagine more exposure to the public is going to help anything. You cannot trot out a bunch of celebrities and Jill and all these other people that aren't policy people to say, we're fine. Don't worry about it. He'll be just fine. When we saw on the news, on CNN, rebroadcast on all the other cable news outlets, how terrible he did.
You know what scares me the most? I mean, I don't care. I think that he is going to be the candidate come November for the Democrats. But what scares me the most is, what the rest of the world thinks about us. And how weak we look with him as president of the United States, the leader of the free world.
Allegedly an important thing we should be considering during the Trump administration, but suddenly we don't care about that so much. Funny how that works, huh?
Yeah, it is. It is very strange how that works. And, we have to look weak to the rest of the world. I mean, you think about all the tumult there is going on in the world these days, in so many parts of our world, that you really have to be concerned about that.
I think everyone's so distracted by Ukraine and Israel that the blinders are on, and they're not caring. They're ignoring the flailing economy, the inflation through the roof all over the planet right now. fact that Russia's not hurting as bad as we thought they were going to be. The world is split when it comes to Israel, Gaza, and what side we should go with or not go with, and where war funding should go. We're ignoring the immigration problem. I mean, the Republicans are paying attention to it, but on a whole, I think if you're not politically involved, you're not really paying attention to it. And this is a global movement problem. This isn't just the southern border. I mean, you hear what's going on over in Europe with their immigration issues and the fallout from what Germany went through and Sweden went through a decade ago. I mean, they're feeling it big time right now, and we're ignoring the impacts of it.
Yeah, I think as far as the election is concerned, I am convinced that Biden will still be the standard bearer for the Democrats, because he has all the power. He has all the delegates. It's only him that can decide to step down. And he's not going to be discouraged by Jill, Dr. Jill. He won't be discouraged by her. Is there anybody out there? There's only one person that comes to my mind. Anybody that could talk with him and say, Joe, you got to step aside. My thought is Barack Obama would be the only one that could possibly talk him out of it. And he probably wouldn't do it, because he's probably pulling the strings to everything we do now anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Obama cabinet's in place. Like, it's going to make him look terrible. It's like he helped prop Biden up, even though it doesn't look like they really like each other in any possible way. It's just the strangest relationship between the two of them. I don't know what Biden did in the background during that administration, but it's. They basically can't say anything unless they have someone else to prop up instead. Who's it going to be? I'd say, unfortunately, I just commented on my Twitter account, like, it's beyond parody, but Jill Biden is like the only one. I mean, it's obvious she's there pulling the strings of Biden himself, and they're in the cabinet.
Yeah.
There's who else is there? It's not his chief of staff. I can't even remember off the top of my head who it is, because it's a non-existent person. Usually that's like the key person. You have Karine Jean-Pierre, who's the face of the entire administration, because everyone else is hiding. It's strictly the press secretary. And what are they going to do? Who's the transportation dude there?
Former presidential candidate. Yeah, Pete Buttigieg.
So,
yep,
who are they going to do? You push Buttigieg up, who is allegedly being groomed to go in that position. He's shown as an utter failure when it comes to executive politics.
Yeah. I think, of all the Democrats on the bench, as it were, Senator Amy Klobuchar would not be a bad selection.
They won't go with another normie kind of background random Democrat, because they've made the case that we don't want that. Repeatedly, they've pushed the progressive wing of the party to such an extent that they've cannibalized a lot of the normie Democrats that were there to begin with, and it's going to be too problematic when it gets to the press, because they're going to want someone that's going to be anti-Israel and pro-Palestine. They're going to want someone that's got a balance when it comes to Ukraine. They're going to want someone that's going to push for universal health care and all these things. I think the reason why Biden has ran as kind of a normie, but ended up kind of in the presidency as more of a progressive individual for the most part, at least on the face of it, is because that's where the winds of popular opinion are right now. It's not going to be someone like that who would be reasonable. I don't necessarily like them in person, but I don't see it working out.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. I mean, they have gone so far to the left; it is unbelievable.
I mean, Bernie would have won if it wasn't for what happened 4 years ago.
He would have. He would have, and that's what they were scared of.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, you look. I mean, New Hampshire voters are smart. Biden was 5th in the New Hampshire primary in 2020.
Yeah.
So obviously he did not get the stamp of approval, and it looked like after New Hampshire that he was pretty much done, but then South Carolina to the rescue.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and just looking to the current state of affairs, you don't need to watch the whole debate. Watch the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You'll see Biden wave to no one. There's no audience in the room. If anyone didn't realize that, there's no audience in the room. It's just TV production equipment.
I think Dana Bash gave him a little wink.
Yeah.
I will take care of you, Joe. But, honestly, I thought, people, ahead of time, and I was maybe a skeptic myself, thought that, CNN would be there to protect him every step of the way, but I thought they did a pretty good job.
There's the best debate moderators I could have imagined, which is shocking because I didn't speak well of Bash or Tapper going into it.
You bashed Bash,
yes.
I think. Yes, you did. And Jake Tapper. Who was the big winner on Thursday night in the debate?
Our friend Robert Kennedy Jr., 100%. That RFK there, I was going into it going, I don't know whether he should be there or not because of the numbers. He's not on that many state ballots, but him not being there is going to be huge for him because the progressives and the Democrats, they're not going to vote for Biden. So many of them now, they're definitely not going to vote for Trump. They literally, it's the screw you vote is officially RFK Jr. and he's going to probably get in the double digits.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the way the polling is right now, he's definitely in double digits. I saw like 18% the last polling I saw.
Yeah.
And Biden and Trump are just about neck and neck.
Yeah.
Don't have Kennedy RFK does not have the numbers they do. But I think he was a beneficiary because I thought Trump, we know how Biden did. But I thought Trump was just okay at best.
I think that's the best we could have asked for because we don't want peak Trump where he goes screaming over at the dementia-ridden old guy in the next podium. I personally, just talking about his delivery and the way he handled himself, I think he did exactly what he should have done. Mm-hmm. Because if he came across as too aggressive or too argumentative or anything like that, it would have been a problem. And he got the one-liners, he got the comebacks, the whole we've beat Medicaid by Biden, and Trump turns around and says, "Yeah, you did. You killed it. You beat it in the ground. Medicare too." It's like I'm like,
boy, that was a perfect setup, wasn't it?
Amazing, because he kept screwing up, and Trump was low energy Trump, which I think for a first debate in June where he wants to he did what I was saying was going to be the best thing going into it for the most part, which is point at the other guy. The other guy is the problem. I'm just not him. Just vote for me because I'm not him. You have good memories in the back of your head on when I was president 3.5 years ago. Use that nostalgia push there to pull ahead. Trump lied constantly. I mean, there's no way around it. He said a whole bunch of nonsense. So did Biden. They're politicians. I really don't care. I mean, when was the last time we had a debate where honestly we were caring about facts?
Well, in all honesty, I mean, to me, the entire Biden administration has been a lie.
Yeah.
I mean, from start to finish. Well, it's not finished yet, but
it may be soon. Is it, though?
It may be soon. Yeah. I don't know, and I'm not sure it is even the Biden administration. I don't know who's pulling the strings, but judging by the performance on Thursday, that it's not him. He can go up there on the next day and look like a completely different guy. Remember the State of the Union? I mean, he came out fired up, and I think that's one of the reasons that Trump, prior to the debate on Thursday, wanted a drug test.
Yep.
I mean,
which is
I know
nonsense.
I know it's bizarre.
Because Trump would fail it too. Because God knows what that guy's on. He's 78 years old, and he comes into these evening rallies just jacked up and ready to go, and full of like the vigor of someone who's in his 50s. I'm like, the rumors have been forever. He takes Sudafed methamphetamines, and this has been something that's been well known for a very long time. He's a New Yorker from the good old days. I can't imagine he's 100% sober. He doesn't drink, and he survives off Diet Coke.
Yeah, but it was. When was the last time? And I don't think there was a time during the Biden administration that he has held a press conference where the questions and the questioners were not pre-screened.
Yeah.
And he had all the note cards on the podium when he was taking these questions from reporters. I mean, you remember Trump during his 4 years. I mean, he was holding a press conference really, not officially, but almost every day. When he got on a plane, he'd be surrounded by reporters and he'd be talking to them for a half hour, just off the cuff. And Biden has not done that. He's held fewer press conferences, I do believe, than any other president.
Yeah, I believe that's the case. And anyone that doesn't believe the screening questions was revealed a year ago by, I think the New York Times even covered it. Like, it is very well known. He screens questions. And just pay attention to any of the clips that go viral of him blankly staring at the press, waving at them like the Queen or something, or just screaming at him, "Come on, man." I don't think he said "come on, man" one time.
He did not. He said "come on." I know.
Yeah,
he said,
"come on." No, "come on, man."
I was waiting for the.
I was harassing my kid nonstop the whole week leading up to the debate because it's just hilarious. It's a meme at this point, but he didn't say it once. I mean, that's one win. He didn't rely on that.
There you go. There's one check mark in the
exactly.
Biden column. But other than that, it was just a horrific performance. And the next day, he comes out in Raleigh, North Carolina. Comes out as Angry Joe once again, like he was at the State of the Union. I mean, he was on fire at the State of the Union, and the same thing Friday, like 12 hours after the debate, or just a little bit more than 12 hours after the debate. But that's what teleprompters and a script will do.
Exactly. It's going to be definitely like Reagan and such. We're not going to know what exactly is going on until many years in the future, unfortunately, because it's obvious there's a health issue. It seems like so many people are saying, like, it appears dementia. Like, he's early stages. He's probably taking medicine for it. Or I shouldn't say early stages. He's having obvious decline. He can't walk anymore properly. And they always say, "Oh, Trump could barely walk." There was one clip of a wet ramp, and the guy is once again in his mid-70s.
Right.
Like, it is not comparable. It's dishonest if you're making that argument.
Yeah, and you know that everybody ages differently. It's not all the same.
Yeah, Bernie's fine. He's always been cranky.
And he's older than Biden. Yeah, well, we know Bernie. And you're right. I mean, if the DNC and South Carolina hadn't stepped in, there's a very, very good chance that he would have been president the last 4 years. And I just don't think that Trump went hard enough in the debate on energy.
Yeah.
I really don't, because, of course, the Keystone Pipeline was shut down by Joe Biden day one of his administration. Remember how many executive orders he signed the first day of his administration? One of them was the Keystone Pipeline. Yep. And at that time, we were energy independent. We're not any longer. We're buying gasoline and oil from some of our biggest enemies, like Venezuela. Yeah. And we're funding some of the wars by the money we're spending on oil from other countries.
Yeah, and you brought up during the break too, like, this is a huge impact on inflation, because everything needs to be transported. We're a huge country that relies on air and ground transport to get anything anywhere. So guess what? When your food prices go up 30%, like we've seen over the last year easily, that gas prices are a huge impact on that.
Now, just prior to the election, and we're assuming that Biden will still be the candidate for the Democrats, the Hunter Biden trial is going to take place. Yeah. And there's going to be a lot more dirt coming out from the laptop. It'll be very public, I would think. And is that going to have an impact?
At this point, I think that the spotlight's all on Biden. Like, the only people that are going to care about what's going on with Hunter Biden are the Republicans. They're just going to use it for more ammo in the can there for attacking. But I really don't see the average person caring at this point when things are so obviously bad. It's been kind of helpful to show the Biden family corruption and the issues at hand with that. Yep. But I think it would have been a problem forever ago. The big thing that I'm really hoping is we don't continue this, as they've been doing with Trump, is bringing up charges 3 years after the fact when they're no longer in office. So either do it or don't. Now's your chance. They're not going to do it. The legislature's split. Like, nothing's going to become of it, I don't think. All
right. So when we go to the polls in early November, what will the Democratic ticket be?
It'll probably still be Biden. If he doesn't have like a deathly decline where he cannot stand in front of a crowd or a teleprompter anymore, then things are going to change. But as is, it was in the New Hampshire Bulletin today. Dana Wormold, who's the editor over there, wrote his article was, how did you guys not know this was going on? And I'd say, because you guys have been covering it up with your left-wing op-eds.
Everybody's been
it's obvious.
Feigning shock, I think, over the last few days.
Exactly.
From the left, yeah.
It's gonna be Trump probably in the 40s. It's gonna be Biden somewhere in the 40s maybe, and then the rest of them are Mr. RFK Jr.
Yeah, there you go. So who's going to be Trump's vice president?
I want to see Tim Scott so bad, but I don't know.
Me too.
I'd love to see liberty-loving dude who's got South Carolina. We'll see though.
I wanted. I didn't want Tim originally. I think Tim is great. I really do, but. At any rate, I think that would be a great ticket for the Republicans. Well, at least half of it anyway. Now, I wanted to see Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah. Much for that.
But at any rate, or even Nikki Haley, but I don't think that's going to happen as vice president. All right, that'll do it. AJ, you've been great as always. AJ Kierstead from the New Hampshire Department of Insurance, also from the New England Take, newenglandtake.com. And AJ, thanks so much. Always fun to have you in studio. And thanks to you for listening. Don't forget our plate of the week is Got Lost. If that's yours, 603-224-1450. Thanks very much for listening. Thanks to our executive producer, Andrew Gibson. And remember, folks, to always look on the bright side of life. We are presented by Northeast Delta Dental. Have a great Monday, everybody.